Aggravating circumstances are specific factors or details about a criminal offense that increase its seriousness and can lead to harsher penalties for the defendant. These circumstances are considered during sentencing and often result in increased prison time, larger fines, or more severe legal consequences. Aggravating circumstances are factors that make a criminal offense more severe or heinous in the eyes of the court. These factors can pertain to the nature of the crime, the manner in which it was committed, the intent of the offender, the impact on the victim, or the offender's past criminal history. The presence of aggravating circumstances can justify imposing stricter punishments to better protect society and provide justice for victims. The specific examples of aggravating circumstances can vary by jurisdiction and the type of offense, but common examples include 1. Premeditation and planning definition. When the offender planned the crime in advance and acted with deliberate intent. Example: committing a murder after careful planning and preparation. 2. Particular cruelty or brutality. Definition: when the crime involves excessive cruelty, torture, or brutality beyond what is necessary to commit the offense. Example: inflicting prolonged suffering on a victim before their death. 3. Use of a weapon. Definition: when the offender uses or displays a weapon during the commission of the crime. Example: using a firearm or knife during a robbery or assault. 4. Vulnerability of the victim. Definition: when the victim is particularly vulnerable due to age, disability, or other factors that make them an easier target. Example: committing fraud against an elderly person or abusing a child. 5. Prior criminal history definition: when the offender has a history of previous convictions or has repeatedly engaged in criminal behavior. Example: a repeat offender committing another similar or more severe crime. 6. Hate crimes or bias-motivated crimes. Definition: when the offense is motivated by bias or hatred towards a particular race, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or other protected characteristic. Example: assaulting someone because of their race or sexual orientation. 7. Committing the crime in concert with others. Definition: when the crime is committed as part of a group or criminal enterprise. Example: participation in gang-related activities or organized crime. 8. Significant impact on the victim or community definition: when the crime causes substantial harm or distress to the victim or has a broader negative impact on the community. Example: arson that destroys multiple homes or a sexual assault causing lasting psychological trauma. 9. Obstruction of justice. Definition: when the offender attempts to obstruct or impede the investigation, prosecution, or justice process. Example: tampering with evidence, intimidating witnesses, or fleeing to avoid arrest. Role of aggravating circumstances in sentencing. During the sentencing phase of a criminal trial, the judge will consider the presence of any aggravating circumstances. These circumstances can influence the severity of the sentence imposed. Key aspects include: 1. Judicial discretion sentencing guidelines. Judges often follow sentencing guidelines that outline recommended penalties for various offenses, including how to handle aggravating circumstances. Discretion. Judges have the discretion to impose harsher sentences if they find that aggravating circumstances are present within the bounds of the law and maximum statutory penalties. 2. Prosecution's role. Presentation. The prosecution is responsible for presenting evidence of any aggravating circumstances during the trial or sentencing hearing. Argument. Prosecutors argue for harsher penalties based on the presence of these factors. 3. Defense's role. Mitigating circumstances. The defense may present mitigating circumstances to counterbalance the aggravating factors, aiming to reduce the severity of the sentence. Challenging aggravation. The defense can also challenge the validity or relevance of the alleged aggravating circumstances. 4. Jury's role, in some cases. Sentencing recommendations. In some jurisdictions or cases, a jury may have a role in determining the presence of aggravating factors and recommending a sentence. Legal considerations. 1. Proof and standards. Burden of proof. The burden of proving aggravating circumstances typically lies with the prosecution, often requiring proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Standards. The specific standards for proving and weighing aggravating circumstances can vary by jurisdiction and type of offense. 2. Appeals and review. Appellate review. Sentences that are influenced by aggravating circumstances can be subject to review on appeal, ensuring that the imposition of a harsher sentence was justified and lawful.